In the last half hour, the US Senate has found President Trump not guilty of abuse of power and the obstruction of Congress in his historic impeachment trial. Donald Trump had been charged with high crimes and misdemeanors by the members of the House of Representatives. But as expected, the Republican majority in the Senate cleared him, which means he will fight for re-election in November. Our North America editor John Sopel reports.
Senators, how say you? Is the respondent Donald John Trump guilty or not guilty?
A process that started last September came to an end today, with senators voting one by one on the two articles of impeachment.
Mr. Alexander, not guilty. Ms. Baldwin. Ms. Baldwin, guilty.
And then the verdict.
It is therefore ordered and adjudged that the said Donald John Trump be, and he is hereby, acquitted of the charges in said articles.
But the wall of Republican unity was broken by Mitt Romney. The former presidential candidate, with a bombshell speech, said he would vote to convict the president of abuse of office.
The grave question the Constitution tasks senators to answer is whether the president committed an act so extreme and egregious that it rises to the level of a high crime and misdemeanor. Yes, he did.
With the impeachment process now behind him, Donald Trump is seeing his approval ratings inching up. The Republican Party is standing right behind him, and the Democrats have had a shocking few days after the shambles of the Iowa caucus. It's all turning out to be a very good week for Donald Trump.
And last night he delivered a highly partisan State of the Union address that could have been from a Republican rally. But the shadow of impeachment couldn't be missed, as Donald Trump pointedly snubbed the Democratic Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, who'd led the moves to impeach the president. Her outstretched arm ignored. And the Speaker's disdain was etched on her face as the president made his remarks. And then, in an extraordinary act of defiance, or petulance, opinions divided, Nancy Pelosi ripped up her copy of his speech. In his speech, the president focused on the strength of the economy, something he hopes will be his trump card.
We have a new name for the coronavirus. The World Health Organization has officially called it COVID-19. Co for corona, Vi for virus, D for disease, and 19 because it started last year. The name, and this man, the Deputy Health Minister, became involved in a political row. Yesterday he said he'd resign if allegations that the government was hiding the true death toll in Com were true. Well, now he's become part of the story because he's got the virus and he was involved in the most extraordinary press conference. Here he is on the left, taking his glasses off, mopping his brow, looking decidedly unwell. He was telling those who had gathered that he doesn't believe in quarantine, that it's an old measure from World War I that doesn't work. The other man on the stage may have had a view on that. But anyway, here's what the minister is saying.
می‌خواستم به اطلاعتون برسونم که منم کرونایی شدم. من از دیروز تب داشتم، تست اولیه‌ام آخر شب مثبت شد. از دیشب خودم رو در محلی ایزوله کردم. چند دقیقه پیش به من گفتن که تست نهایی قطعی شده. دارم درمان رو شروع میکنم. حال عمومی بد نیست، خوبم. یه مقدار کوفتگی دارم، تب داشتم که انشالله کم میشه. حتما ظرف چند هفته آینده در مقابله با این ویروس پیروز خواهیم شد. مطمئن باشید که ما کرونا رو شکست میدیم. مطمئن باشید.
So that's the Deputy Health Minister in Iran who has the virus. We've also heard from the President.
A disaster has happened in Iran, a virus spreading in Iran and has involved 40 countries in the world. And it will spread in all the countries around the world too. It is an uninvited and unpleasant guest, which is travelling everywhere. We should overcome the problem and we shouldn't panic.
And then there's Mike Pompeo. Clearly the US Secretary of State isn't a neutral observer on what's happening, but he's had this to say.
The United States is deeply concerned by information indicating the Iranian regime may have suppressed vital details about the outbreak in that country. As of yesterday afternoon, Iran was second only to China in coronavirus deaths. all nations, including Iran, should tell the truth about the coronavirus and cooperate with international aid organizations.
Well, next I want to play you a fascinating exchange between BBC Persian's Rana Brahimpour and my colleague Simon McCoy on how Iranians are viewing this virus.
They don't trust the politicians to the degree that they even cast doubt about what the deputy health minister has claimed. They say they're lying that they have corona. They want to. This is a propaganda.
They think he's not got it.
No. They say that he's lying, and in 3 days he's going to come out to say that oh, you see, I'm recovered. It's not serious. Don't worry. So the level of mistrust towards the Iranian politicians is so deep that they wouldn't believe anything that comes out of their mouth.
He didn't look well, it has to be said.
No, I agree with you. He didn't look well, and he's not the only one. An MP from Tehran, Mahmoud Sadeghi, has also confirmed on Twitter that his test result came out positive, and they had a sitting yesterday at the Parliament. So it looks like that it's going to every.
So every MP is now going to ask or self-isolate, or are they self-isolate?
If they do, that's the problem. Many of these politicians and the Iranian public, they're so religious, they think that death is in the hands of God. And they say, I'm not going to die if I'm not meant to die. So they don't believe in all these scientific measures to contain the virus.
Health officials in China say around 14% of patients who had the coronavirus but recovered have tested positive again. The same phenomenon has been reported in Japan, where a woman in her 40s tested positive for a second time after being released from hospital. Officials in both countries have said they are still learning about this new virus.